Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today's conversation is about how do you follow your passion in business? How do you overcome the pain to find your joy? My guest today, Lauren Lepley, will be telling us about her own journey and why she believes it's so important that consistency always wins. If you're consistent in whatever you do, you'll always find success and find joy in your work. Now, before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about Lauren Lepley and her work. Well, Lauren Lepley, she works with ambitious wellness and purpose-driven coaches and entrepreneurs who are fed up of feeling like they have to constantly hustle for their businesses in order to move forward. Many of us feel like this on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur, you understand one or two things of what I'm saying. It's always difficult to run a business, especially being a female, that Lauren Lepley will talk to us about how do we overcome that challenges to find our joy. She'll also be telling us about her own inner struggle growing up, her own battle she struggled with, and how she overcame that to find her own healing power, to find her own healing and methods she used to heal herself from all of that pain. I'm really excited to talk to Laura. Not only will she be talking to us about the entrepreneurship journey, she'll be telling us about what she did during the pandemic when everyone was on lockdown. We were all hiding ourselves because we were told to stay home, but not our guest here, Lauren. She'll be telling us what she did and how she's growing that business to where it is today. Meet my wonderful guest, Lauren Lepley, as we share her journey and words of encouragement to any entrepreneur out there to grow their business and become successful. Meet Lauren. Well, hello everyone again. Welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. As I said in my introduction, today's conversation is about, are you aspiring entrepreneur looking for ways to make that challenge, ways to get out of your shells and build your business? My guest today will be talking about how to follow your dreams, how to shape your ideas into something that's more realistic and make it work. Like she just did something during the pandemic when everyone was shying away from starting a business. Lauren here started one. Lauren, how are you?
I am fantastic, thank you. Really, really great.
I'm really fascinated by you because you said you talk very openly how to follow your dreams. And it's really a really big subject because a lot of people want to. Everyone has dreams, especially leading up to the new year. We'll be airing this in the new year. One of the key things is that everyone will want to have this New Year resolution. They won't want to follow their dreams. You were a business mentor. You mentor many businesses. You mentor startup especially. But before we get started into all of these wonderful things you do, who is Lauren Lepley?
Okay, so firstly, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, a sister, an aunt. I'm a mum, but to my fur child, Lady the yellow lab. She really is a child as well. I really think that she thinks she's human. So that, firstly, that is who I am. I'm very committed to my family, and everything that I do, involves them. And what do? I'm a multi-business owner, all within the wellness space, both bricks and mortar. I have online business, I have digital platforms. I also have the UK's only wellness centre that is 360 for mind and body, that supports sustainability. We're certified plastic free, completely cruelty free. And I'm really incredibly proud of that. And we offer everything from fitness and strength, yoga, mindfulness. I have a plant-based vegan cafe, a crash, holistic treatment rooms, all under one roof. So that is the bulk of what I do right now. But there's lots of things that have led me there from different life experiences, shall we say. I'm sure that we will come to some of those, so I won't go into that right now. But I'm a person that has come from a very normal upbringing, and have always managed to find the positive side in everything. And it's something that I'm very, very grateful for. I don't know where it comes from. It's just something that is in me. And I have learned that it is a gift, and it's something that I definitely utilize on a day-to-day basis.
That is truly amazing. When you look at your background, like when you were growing up as a child, have you thought about what has led you on this path? Because I always ask this question because there's so many young people who watch our show. And one of the things they always want to know, and they always ask me, is that how did these people, what kind of background did they come from to get them to where they are today? Could you remember your background? Like, can you share us a little bit about where did that motivation, that drive in you come from?
Well, I do know where that comes from. I used to love performing. So I used to dance most days of the week. I loved to sing. I was lucky enough to actually sing in some amazing venues at a young age. So, for example, the Royal Albert Hall and Wembley Stadium, I did when I was a teenager. So,
wow.
I have always, when I got my eye on something and I really want it, it's nothing, you know, things don't matter, you know, that's what I want. And then I will go for it. So that's part of my, you know, I've always been pretty motivated, but the strongest thing behind motivation is discipline. So you can't always be motivated. But one thing that you can teach yourself to become is disciplined. And I think that I have always been very busy from a young child doing various different things. And I've always had to be disciplined. I did CCF when I was younger. So that's the Combined Cadet Force. So I did it for a short while. It was actually, it was partly to do with that when I stopped dancing because I had an accident, but we won't go there. So, and I love that discipline. You know, it's very often that you find people that have trained as a dancer, they, you know, when they stop dancing, like, what do? I need routine. I need discipline in my life. And they will go into the police force. They will go into the armed forces because that regulation is so important to them. And I've not really thought about this before. This is all coming to me now. That is where I feel. That is where I feel a lot of it has come from. It's that discipline that I've had from a young age, that I still have in my adult life.
No, that is really true. I think it's when you look at athletes as well, they have this discipline. This, for example, I look at my son. He plays ice hockey, and you could wake him up in the middle of the night anytime. He has this discipline. He knows he has to win. He's so focused. And I look at him, and I just admire that focus, that knowing that you have to do something, and nothing is stopping you from getting there. So I kind of see where you're going with this, with the importance when you're disciplined and focused. Then you will eventually see results if there's a consistency and discipline. But that leads me on to my next question about your life growing up. You talk about you've said it openly, you've endured multiple traumas in your life, multiple trauma pain, such as cancer, abuse, bullying, and a breakdown. All of this, which encouraged your health, it encouraged you to find your own health and healing journey, which is amazing because a lot of people go through this, and rather than them finding that peace or health and healing journey, they look back and they actually, you know, say negative things about themselves. They say, oh, it's because I went through this is why I can't be this. But no, you found your own path to heal from all this pain. Can you share some of these trauma and how you managed to heal from them?
In all honesty, at the time of any trauma, the only way I could get through it was to walk straight at it and through it. I got through it pretty quickly. It's only later on that I've then had to unpick a lot of stuff. The past few years have been quite incredible on learning and understanding my own journey, because I was so committed just to move on and get things done. When we're in a traumatic situation, I feel that I come to a crossroads, and it's like, okay, you have a decision to make. You can be the victim, or you can actually step aside and walk forward and not look back. And at every time I've understood in myself recently that I've never wanted to be that victim. I've always thought, well, it's happened, I can't change it. Yeah. Okay, later on in life, things have built up where I've ignored so much, but at the time, it was moving forward and it was moving on and making a conscious decision. I talk about self-awareness a lot, and it is something else that I've always been gifted with, and both mentally and physically aware. And it is that awareness that has enabled me to know that I need to make that decision at that time.
Wow.
So I would say that it's a line of resilience. And I think that when you can step forward, look back, know what's happened, but close a door and keep moving forward, it is a line of resilience, and resilience is within us all. And I pray that not everyone needs to use resilience in ways that I've needed. I do think I've had to use resilience more times than most, and more times than I want anyone that I know to have to find. But it's made me strong, and it has enabled me to stand up and make decisions and do that, keep walking forward, because sometimes that is all it is. It is stepping forward, but it is the hardest thing to do.
You said, Lauren, I like what you just said about the resilience, because I also have a chronic illness, and I had to find the resilience in me to step forward. I had to stop feeling sorry for myself. I had to stop, even though I see everything, I had all this thing, everything that happened to someone happened to me. But at one point I said to myself, and you could sit here, feel pity for yourself, cry all day. The doctors could give you all these diagnoses and you could say, yes, okay, this is me, and you could claim it, or you could just move forward. But one of the things about moving forward I found was that the thing you said about later on, you have lots of pieces to pick up. Because some of the pieces I had to pick up was that, okay, I was so far behind in school because I never went to, every time I go to school, I'll be in hospital. So I just moved forward and kept skipping classes and skipping those. Then I had to pick up those pieces by teaching myself a lot of things, and a lot of things that people would already know. Someone will say, oh, you don't know that? Okay, how come? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't know. So how did you overcome the pain and was able to pick up those pieces, when you're moving forward? How did you then heal from those pieces you left behind? Because there was always those pieces we always leave behind that we still have to finally address. Well, even if we're moving forward, we still have to finally address those pieces. How did you do that?
Well, yeah, those pieces that we leave behind are still a part of us. And later on, we find out that we can't continue to a huge level of genius that we all have unless we are whole. So we do have to go back and collect them and bring them in. But always having a vision, always knowing that I have been here to learn and to do good. And I didn't before, many years ago, I didn't really know what it was I was supposed to be doing. So I just continued on a learning journey, and I kept improving myself, bettering myself, learning and absorbing as much as I could. And I knew that it was going to be used at some point. So having that guidance that, within my heart and my head, I knew that I was going somewhere. And just trusting the process. Yes. And just keep aiming forward. That has been the strongest thing to keep me going, and knowing that I can do things to support my family, not financially, not I don't mean like that, but I mean as a human.
That's true.
And I think that we all, when we think about the things that we want to learn to better ourselves, to grow a bigger and better business so we can earn more money to support people, for me, it really does come down to how can I best support the people that I love emotionally and as a human. You know, I started off today, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I am an aunt. I am all of those things first. And more than anything, I love being a human and having all the opportunity and understanding the downfalls that arise. I quite enjoy what has become the roller coaster journey.
Yeah, because that's really the next question, because you're really on this journey, and this journey, you through your love, your passion, you're really giving back to so many people in your different way. You have an ambitious wellness center now, which is, you know, well known around the UK. I'm sure very soon it'll be around the world. And you're a purpose-driven coach, and your focus is really helping entrepreneurs who are fed up with feeling like they have to constantly hustle for their businesses in order to move forward. And I think that there's so many people not alone in this space right now. There's so many people feeling out there that they constantly have to move, you know, just do things for the businesses to make ends meet. Why do you feel that many get stuck in this space? They can't make the business move. They can't achieve anything. They can't achieve the success they aspire to. Why?
Because they don't trust themselves. Simply.
Yeah.
I see so many people that are so capable and have so much to give to themselves, to their businesses, to others, that are really standing in their own way. That people, especially in the current world, you know, the digital world, everyone else's journey is right in front of your face. Whether you like it or not, every time you do anything, you pick up your phone, you open your computer, you go onto Google, you type in anything, someone else's journey is right there looking at you. And so that comparison is such an issue in the current climate. And I really would love to be able to pull people away from that. And I work with people on acknowledging other people's journeys, but not competing against it. Everyone has their own journey and their own path, and every single person's path is different. For one, they all start in a different place. They all have a different end goal. So why on earth would we expect everyone's journey to be the same in the middle? But we do have that self-expectation on ourselves. And I think that is a huge, what's a good word? That is a huge uncomfort for people, because they feel that, you know, it's that external pressure that they feel they should be doing things, and no one should be doing anything.
No, that's a beautiful answer. You just said it. You know, we could almost end this conversation because you've just said it there. The pressure we all feel. Everyone wakes up every morning, and the first thing, when you've said good morning to your loved ones, you have to go to the phone. And even if you don't want it, sometimes the phone feeds it on you. You turn your phone on, you just tap a button, and there's like all this news coming through. And you're like, I don't want to hear this right now. This is not what I want to see. I just got up. This is not how I wanted to shape my morning. And this is what we're with the pressure. But how can we find, with all this pressure, I know you talked very kindly about this, but with all this pressure, all this thing, which is a new world, so many people are not quite sure how to adapt themselves into it. How can we find a freedom within ourselves to take back control?
Okay, so for me, the word controls stuck out there because I don't think that we are ever actually in control. I think that we have a sense of control, and the importance of having the sense of control is huge. That comes from concentrating on what we are doing in the present moment. Because we cannot control the past, because it has happened, it is not possible to change. Yeah. And we can't control the future because we have no idea what is coming. If we sit in the past on negativity, we feel depressed and miserable. If we think about, if we're fearful of the future, about things that may happen, we get anxiety. If we think about the future at all, it is still not yet completely within our control. So we have that sense of control for right now in the present moment. And if we concentrate on that and what we can do for ourselves right here, right now, within our capability, within our own capacities, that is that space there, the present capability, capacity, is where we will find our sense of control. If we look outside of that collective, we waver and we become overwhelmed, because overwhelm is a result of the lack of sense of control.
Right. Yeah. And what behaviors, now you've talked about the control bits, what behaviors do we need to adapt to become successful with our now? What behaviors should we kind of incorporate into our life? Because you said it's all about the present, about now. Entrepreneurs are struggling out there because they are looking into the future, or they're worried about they've done this over and over again, and that hasn't worked for them. So what behaviors would you be asking, telling someone to look into and work and address for now to make that work for them going forward?
Have a good understanding of yourself. Know what it is that you want as an end goal, and make sure that you reverse engineer that and completely align yourself that to day to day. So when I work with people, we look at a 5-year strategy. We have an end goal. I break it down. We look at what needs to be achieved in that first year. And then we look at the quarters. Then we look, once we're into the first quarter, we break it into the months. Then we know the months, that gets broken into weeks, the week gets broken into days. So now we're at task level, but every single task has come from the end goal. So that discipline is enjoyable on each and every day, because you know the things that are in your schedule, your tasks that you have to do are a small stepping stone to that end goal. As soon as we fill our diaries, our schedules with things that aren't aligned, they become things we should be doing, as opposed to things we want and need to be doing to have that essence of achievement and success. Success is purely completing something that you set out to achieve.
That is true.
So if we know that each and every day we do at least one thing that is towards that end goal, you can know that you will wake up motivated and you will go to bed satisfied, because you have ticked a box towards your desired end goal, your future vision to support yourself. And that routine, waking up and doing things that are productive, I mean, you feel good. If you wake up, we all talk about we should journal, we should be grateful. The reason behind that is writing is sharing, and it's extracting emotion, and you can only look after your emotions if they have been extracted. Otherwise they build up. And being grateful puts the brain, uses a certain part of the brain that is the polar opposite to fear. Now, everything under the fear category is anything from anxiety, depression, any ill mental health comes under that fear sphere. So once we're in a state of gratitude, we cannot possibly be in a state of fear. So that is also something that we should do on a daily basis. And another thing that I urge people to do is be really, really aware of the use of language. Don't use the word sorry unless it is really, really needed. Don't say, oh, I'm really sorry, I'm late, for whatever reason. Say, hi, thanks ever so much for waiting for me. It says exactly the same thing, but with a positive connotation that puts the mood and the sense of atmosphere into such a great position. So the way that you talk to yourself and you talk to others, use the positive version at all times.
And it's something we always miss. I think even in this current climate as well, so many people miss that word, because they always think everything is negative. The whole world is negative. Nothing is there's no happy news anymore. So people start looking down, condemning themselves, but that is such a right way to go. Because actually, I used to, when you just said that, don't use the word sorry and stuff like that, I thought about it. I said, actually, when people call me and someone is late and they say, oh, sorry, I'm late, that dampens me. I feel a little bit upset about it when the person says, sorry, I'm late. But if the person starts by saying, oh, my daughter, or I really appreciate that you waited for me, I'm grateful, there's a smile on your face again automatically. You're like, oh gosh, they were thinking that. They were actually thinking about me, not rather than just, sorry, I'm late. Anyone could say sorry. I think we've got to that stage. Anyone could say sorry. Why not change the tone? And I love how you just say, think about the way you speak to yourself. But when you look at women and men in this business, in this game, right? We have a, do you feel, I have to ask you, rather than me saying that we have, do you feel we have a different approach to entrepreneurship? And can women be more successful in this space if we try?
I don't want to say we could be more successful in this space if we try. I think we have equal opportunity to be as successful as one another. And men have less, how do we put this? Men have less self-expectation from other people's opinions than women. So they are more than happy to get on and to optimize as they go through. Women very much are aware what other people are thinking, what other people are doing when they're watching us, and we want to get it right first time round. We want it to be perfect. We don't want to release anything for it to come back and have to change it. Whereas men tend to put things out there, take it back, change a few things, put it out there, and they can grow by doing that. And I really think that the perfectionism that we have as women, because of the external expectations we have and being aware of other people watching us, is where that comes in. And that is why we have those struggles. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, and it's something that we could, as women, for example, we could all work on it. Just, can we, does our emotion play a part in this? The emotion women have, and because of that, does that help? Does that play a positive role, or could that be a negative? And how can we address those angles?
I think that there are definitely things that we can do. We could support each other better. There's lots of talk and conversation around this, and lots of people speaking about girls watch one another, but women support one another. And I think that because of history, does come down to history. Women have only in the last century been able to open a bank account and have their own mortgage. So that's really recent. Yeah. You know, like the 1960s, the way you could open a bank account, really bizarre stuff. And because of that, we are still a foot behind in expectations of what people have. Even if I was to go head to head with a client pitch, there was myself and a guy, there is still the understanding that the gentleman may possibly have a little bit more gravitas behind what he is giving than myself. Yeah. And that is just society. That is just culture. So we are on the way to changing that, but we do have a long way to go about it. And the emotion side, the way that our bodies work, we have different hormonal regulation systems, different hormone levels within our bodies. And yes, we do tend, when we're in our feminine, as opposed to being in our alpha emotion states, you know, I definitely have an alpha side of me that is my head on my shoulders when I'm at work. Now, I work with my husband, I work with family members. They know that when I'm in work mode, alpha is out, because that's what's required. But I do have a more feminine energy side that comes into it when I'm working on things like HR and personal development and the support side of things.
Yes.
Because we are geared to being able to do that. We're maternal, we're female, we are mothers. Yeah. Those of us that don't yet have children, we are still mothers in the making.
Yes, that's true.
So yes, I do believe that emotions do play a big part on it. But I do also think that we can overcome them by going back to the awareness and taking forward the things that we do need from more of an alpha state.
I have to go into the pandemic, the global pandemic. Everyone was hiding away. People were not coming out. Stay home, stay live. You managed to launch awareness center and platform that is the first and only sustainable and certified plastic-free center. I mean, I must applaud you for that, because you did this during the global pandemic. And your wellness center called Alpha, is it Alpha?
Aliafia.
Aliafia has a wide range of services, from fitness classes, massages, to online content available on the Aliafia app. How did you develop this center despite the challenges presented by the pandemic?
Well, I had recently moved to North Devon from London. I was still in the middle of having my cancer treatment, and I had decided that as much as I thought I hated business, I never wanted to have anything to do with it again, many years ago, that actually I adore it, and I absolutely thrive in the midst of problem solving and growing business. So that was like my previous career before wellness, and I knew that I needed to do something, and I knew that I had it in me, and nothing was going to stop me. Once I had said, yes, this is what I'm going to do, a pandemic didn't need to stop me. All I needed to do was to have a look into what it was I had to offer, what's within my, here we go back to it, my capability and my capacity at the time, within the circumstances. So yes, I've got a bricks and mortar business. Yes, we delayed our opening by half a year because we were in lockdown, but we were able to put the word out there. We were able to start making people aware. We were able to start offering online content. So rather than it being, well, we can't do that, close, okay, just we'll have to wait, it's, well, okay, well, what can we do? How can we utilize this downtime into something that is actually going to support us in the long run? So a digital platform, in my mind, was coming in around year 2, year 3. It just happened to be the first thing that we did.
The digital thing we very much talked about at the beginning had to be the first thing you did in the end, because it was something that, since people were all staying home, this was the best way to get the word out there. And when people were back again, your place was the first place thinking. You're very, very, very focused on this word. Consistency equals success. And you say it over and over again on your website. It's something that is your word. You believe in it. What do you mean by consistency equals success? It's an easy word, but what does it truly mean?
Consistency is success, leads to success, because success is a series, like big success is a series of achievements. Now, if we miss something along the line, we don't truly succeed. So we have to be consistent in what we deliver upon ourselves to achieve on a regular basis. So with routine, so internally for our own selves to reach optimal health, we need to be consistent with things. You can't just do things once and there be a result, or in the health sense of things, but also in the output, on the outreach of a business, you have to be consistent. A few years ago, not even many, a few years ago, people would need maybe 7 touch points with you as a brand, a business, a personal brand, a person, to start really engaging with you. I think it's up to around like 21, maybe even 24 touch points now. So unless you're consistent with your messaging, with the audience that you're presenting to, people don't have the same level of trust, level of knowing you, level of respect, that they can take action to go ahead and connect with you, to go through a business transaction, whether it's a product, whether it's a service. So for our own human state, consistency is key. Our bodies regulate, and to regulate something, there has to be consistency, right? So everything about our whole being is around consistency, and everything around business growth is consistency. It's the repetition of doing things, compound effects, accumulation. All of that can only come with consistency. So there's so many different ways of saying this, but ultimately each of them come down to consistency. So consistency is, yes, used a lot.
Lauren, I love you mentioned the human part, because it's something we always forget. We talk about ourselves, but we always forget that at the end of it all, we're all humans. And I love that you bring this out, because when I say to people, people look at me and think, why do you always use the human? Because I just think when you remember that we're human, then you take away all this negativity of I can't do this because I'm this, I can't do this. Because you remember human first, and we're all human. And that also applies to your daily work. You love to give back to others. You even said it's not even about how much my business turnover, it's about how much I could give back to others. What joy does this give you?
That gives me all my joy. So if we were to think about purpose and passion, passion is something that we do for ourselves. Purpose is what we do for others. So we all have a purpose, whether that is to stay at home and look after our children, whether it's to educate 1 billion people of a certain understanding of something, whether it is to teach infant children at school, whether it is to work in oncology. It is all a supporting system. So if you can find the connection between your purpose to serve others and enable yourself to truly go ahead and do that, that is the tick box of joy. Joy is not happiness. Happiness is an emotion that we can come to and we can bring ourselves into a state of. Joy is within. Joy is far more an inner strength of us as a human being. We all have the ability to have joy in our life. It's where we place it. I used to think that I was completely happy when I had a great salary and I was working in any girl's dream in luxury fashion PR, and had a consultancy as an operations director for global businesses, doing amazing things, lived in Holland Park, used to go out on night all the time. And it really wasn't. My joy came when I moved to Morocco for about 16 months, and I stripped everything back. The joy doesn't come from the material things. Joy comes from human connection. We have a sense of touch. We can see, we can hear, we can smell, we can taste. There are reasons for that. Being able to taste something doesn't enable us to reproduce. No. It is a satisfaction. So it enables the joy to really grow. So where I stripped myself back to live in the local community, in the local culture in Morocco, I discovered joy, true joy.
Oh no. And I hope a lot of people this holiday season and in the new year, they will understand that it's not just about what you have. Sometimes you have to find your own true joy, because you're always going to be upset about things because you're always saying, oh, I'm not successful, no, oh, I'm not achieving enough. while you're actually achieving more than you even realize. It's just that you haven't found the joy in why you're doing so and such. My final question, Lauren, before I let you go. How can we plant the seed of rapid transformation for any struggling entrepreneur? This is just to give them that hope that it can be done for 2021. How can we plant that seed?
Okay, so the first thing we need to understand is you've used rapid transformation there. As long as we are understanding that rapid transformation is the accumulation of all these tiny little points, and there is no magic pill, no one is an overnight success. Everyone has a journey before that moment when everyone knows who they are and they end up with lots of zeros in their bank. Everyone has a journey to get there, but they only got there because they did plant the seed at the beginning. So if you miss the stage of planting a seed, your tree will never grow. You will never bear, it will never grow the fruit. You will never be able to pick the fruit. You'll never enjoy the taste of said apple that has fallen from the tree that you have planted because you forgot to plant the seed. And planting the seed is taking action. So many people procrastinate around things that they have to do for this successful business. They forget the actual doing. They write lists, they write strategy, they write business plans, they have visions, they have ideas, they talk to everyone, they network with people, but they don't do the doing. The doing is planting of the seeds. As soon as you start the planting, as soon as you start the doing, you give yourself an opportunity of growth and transformation. Without the action of getting out there and doing and moving out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is where nothing changes. So you're in the circle here. If you don't learn to walk over the line, nothing will change. You cannot grow without change. You have to have a sense of uncomfortable to do that. And what you have to then understand is that uncomfortable feeling is never going to go away, because once you're here and you've stepped out the line, that then becomes your comfort zone. But to get to there, you've still got to break through the uncomfort again before it becomes comfortable. It's not a one-time wonder, oh, I've done it, I have moved through my comfort zone. That's not it. If you are aware that these feelings are going to be there, you understand that you better get used to the feeling and love the feeling. I love a little bit of a bubbly belly. I love it when I'm nervous. I love it when I feel that uncomfort, because it means that I'm growing and I'm pushing through a barrier that is going to allow me to my next level of genius. We have many of them, an infinite number, but we have to keep pushing and breaking things down.
Amazing. Wow. I love what you said at the end, the comfort. And a lot of people, like myself included, you get to that level, you said, oh, I've done it. Guys, I've done it. No. And you go back and realize, you say, well, you asked me to do it, right? I did it. And no, that's not the point. The point here is that you get to that level, the comfort grows to that level. So you need to find the other level to jump into. And I think, Lauren, this is the most beautiful way to end this conversation, because I think this is a message that this ending will leave a lot of people thinking about the new year, thinking about their strategies for the new year. And I think anyone who has any questions should definitely reach out to yourself. Do you still practice? If anyone has any question, how do they get hold of you? Because a lot of people will be so amazed by this conversation.
People can get hold of me via Instagram or LinkedIn, or via my website. It's all Lauren Lepley. So it's very easy to find. And yeah, I will always answer questions that come to me. And if I'm not able to help, because not all the time I can, I will absolutely pass people through to the right person for their question. I will answer questions in my expertise space, and I'll give anyone else the opportunity to answer for their own as well. So,
well, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate this conversation with yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.